If I want to change this into something else, turn this into a rhythm electric guitar.
Ooh. It's so good.
We've added something that I think is really special to Studio 2, the ability to imagine your own plugin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luke, and today we are going to be talking about a massive update to Suno Studio, and I am joined by Henry Phipps, the product manager of Studio.
Thanks, Luke. Happy to be here.
All right, so Henry, for producers, what was the main goal about building this?
We got a lot of feedback that people miss the parts of their workflow that they're familiar with from other platforms. Things like real-time audio effects where you can put a reverb on a vocal or something. MIDI input where you can play on a keyboard and play out a melody or a chord idea. These are things that have been around for a long time. And the reason they've stuck around is because they're awesome and they're very expressive ways to make music and people understand how they work. So Studio 2 is really about bringing some of these existing music production techniques into a space where they can kind of interact with some of the new technology that we're bringing to music production. We also built in sort of this like studio assistant, we call it Studio Chat. And it's a chat bar that lets you talk directly to your DAW project. And that's aware of all of the audio effects that are on your tracks. It's aware of your MIDI and stuff. And so the goal is, bring in a bunch of conventional music production techniques, but make them much more accessible by including natural language as a way that you can talk to all these things. So here we have a studio project that I made. I know that there's a lot going on here, but the chat is these little sparkles down here. So I can click to open it up, and I can also just press enter at any time to make it appear. And the idea here is that it's, one little button press away. Rename all my tracks to something that makes more sense. So in this case, I'm doing something that a lot of producers have asked about directly, actually. Like, can we just have AI to help clean up my session and rename things and color code things? The answer is yes, we absolutely should. So this can see the project state, it knows the audio that's on all of the tracks, and so it can help you clean up your project. And it can also, it still has the musical brain of Suno inside of it as well. So it can create new audio tracks directly onto the timeline as well. So I could say add a bass line here, should be 70s inspired and electric bass. You can ask it questions about how things work. You could say, how do I record into this? And it should give you a response that teaches you which buttons to click in order to start recording your audio.
Wow, that's really cool.
The idea is that it feels like a studio assistant who's right there next to you, teaching you how to use the product and helping you along the way. First, what is MIDI? MIDI is the language for expressing notes over time, the digital language for that. You'll see that we've got audio tracks on this timeline that look like this, where we've got these squiggly waveforms, and these are familiar to most Suno users at this point. But you'll now see another type of track that has these horizontal lines. These represent notes, and you can think of them like notes on a piano. And you can play these in with an external keyboard, or you can play these in with your computer keyboard. So we can pull up this little graphic. We refer to this as musical typing. And I can play. Yeah, you can play chords on your laptop, or little melodies if I wanted. Oop. And this is so fun because the ultimate goal of all of this is to allow you to express the idea that you have. And that often involves very specific chord patterns or very specific even voicings of chords. Not all G major chords are created equal.
Right.
There's different ways to play them. And so with MIDI, you can finally get really, really precise. And then with Suno, you can take that MIDI clip, and we have MIDI instruments which allow us to hear those clips.
Yeah.
Or you can ask the chat, hey, turn this MIDI clip into audio, a string quartet, a good rhythm guitar part, whatever it is. And it will go ahead and convert that MIDI into essentially an audio recording. If you have something like this, this is a MIDI keyboard and you can play notes. There's a bunch of different types of MIDI devices, things with little pads that you can hit, knobs, faders, and Studio supports all of this. So you can play stuff in with the keys, and you can map these faders and knobs and launchpad buttons to various parameters inside of Studio.
Cool.
So
let's show it. Just can we put that on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't have to do much, just plug it in. Lights are on, and
And then can you record that onto the timeline?
yeah, I can. So let's, I mean, I got some stuff down here already, but I will solo this track. There we go. I've got my recording in here now. I can play it back. And there's a little like note flub right there. That one. And if I wanted this melody to go, da, 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 I can. And I don't actually like that little frill thingy. I'm gonna extend these ones out. So this is gonna be really familiar to music producers who have worked in other sort of DAWs, but as far as Suno goes, this is brand new to us, that you can directly control the notes and the chords that are on the timeline here. And then if I want to change this into something else, I can go ahead and, you know, select this and say, turn this into a rhythm electric guitar part.
Ooh.
Woof!
Let's go. It's so good. All right, let's talk about tracking live audio. Is there anything new in Studio 2.0?
Yeah, we've added just two small things. We have a latency calibration now, which enables you to basically record your audio in a way that it lands on the timeline exactly how you recorded it, which is nice. And then we also have a count in pre-roll, so you can hear those metronome clicks before you start recording, which is nice. Yeah, just small things, but makes a big difference. When you call me in the night, and you see you walking around when you call me in the night. Wow, this is fun. When you call me in the night. This is very like retro sounding. Okay, let's record it. Let's record it.
Let's go.
First, I'm gonna do the latency stuff. So I'm gonna pull down this menu, latency. And so it's clicking and listening back to it to basically see what the round trip latency is there. Let me do a count in, 1 bar, great. When you call me in the night, and your voice so soft right in my ear, it feels so right. When you call me in the night. So that mic quality, not great on the laptop, but here, I'll pop the headphones back out again.
That's great.
So you can hear. I'm gonna turn the volume up on this clip. When you call me in the night, and your voice so soft right in my ear, it feels so right. When you call me in the night. Keep the lyrics the same, but cover this into a new male lead vocal performance. Okay, we'll give this a rock. So yeah, right now it's covering it, which means that in place it's going to replace the audio with new audio that has the same timing and melody.
That's right. Yeah.
When you call me in the night.
Ooh, cool harmonies.
Very cool.
And your voice so soft right in my ear, it feels so right.
Okay, timing not there, but
When you call me in the night.
yeah,
It's very cool.
I've completely derailed this video.
No. Yeah.
Luke had one plan and we're going somewhere else now.
When you call me in the night. And your voice so soft right in my ear, it feels so right. When you call me in the night.
I love it. Let's chat just really quickly about people that want to bring their old projects into Studio 2.0. How does that transition work? Are there new features in Studio 2.0 that they wouldn't have had in the first version of Studio?
Yeah, so 2.0 is totally backwards compatible with 1.0. So all of your projects, the next time you open it, you will see a little like modal and it'll say, hey, do you want to open this in the old interface or do you want to open this in the new interface? And we've given you that choice because, you know, if you're working on a big project and your deadline is tomorrow, we want to make sure that you can still use the thing that's familiar to you.
Right.
But if you open it in the new interface, it'll open totally normally. And all of the features we've added are new and on top of the Studio One features. So we're not losing anything there. So the project will still load, but there's now just a bunch more stuff you can do to that audio.
Yeah, one of the things is advanced split, right?
Yeah, so we have a new stem splitter that we launched kind of recently, and it offers this advanced split mode that lets you specify exactly which instruments you want to pull out of the mix. So in the case where I had the vocal here that had those extra things in it,
So soft right in my ear, it feels so right.
if I want to just pull out the vocal, I can say get stems, advanced split, lead vocal, and it's going to go ahead and just pull out that lead vocal in a very clean way and give me the option to arrange it directly onto the timeline. And I know that in theory, it seems like we ought to be able to detect all the instruments that are there, but we found that this works the best when you're using your ears and you say, I want that specific instrument.
Right.
Even though it's more work, the stems that come out of that mode are higher fidelity and they sound really good. So for me, I'm always using that advanced split mode. Okay, so here's that vocal by itself.
Only in the night, and your voice so soft right in my ear, it feels so right.
So yeah, that's super clean.
Yeah, very clean.
And then if I click insert, it'll fly right into the timeline or right below where the original audio used to live.
One of my favorite features in Studio is remove effects. Can you talk about remove effects?
Yeah, remove effects. Yeah, this is a way just to kind of post-process audio to try to get the dry signal back out. So I can right click, say remove effects, and it's gonna arrange the audio that is dry. So let's give this.
When you call me in the night.
Yeah, that's dry. And this will work on audio that you bring in here too. So if you have a vocal stem that you've sung and it's been processed or whatever, and you bring it into Studio and you split out the vocal, you can use this to basically remove those effects. And then with the in-house effects, you can add different effects back on to your liking, to your taste.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so one thing that we haven't talked about yet is the built-in new effects into Studio 2.0. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it. This is something that I made a few days ago while I was testing this, and it sounds like this. Yeah, it's kind of funky, it's groovy, and the whole thing is like, it's got this movement to it. And the way that I've been able to do that here is using some of our built-in audio effects. We've got the bass, we've got these drums that are muted here, but it's important that they're actually still on the timeline. And let's open up this MIDI pad right here. So you'll immediately notice when I double click on the track title, this little bottom panel pops up. We still have the panels sort of mapped to those same keyboard shortcuts as in Studio One. So right now 2 opens and closes this, 3 opens and closes automation, 1 moves the chat around, and 4 brings the library open, whatever. If I open up the effects here, you'll see something that looks brand new to Studio 1.0 users. So here you'll see that we have an instrument followed by a bunch of audio effects. And for people who are used to producing music in other DAWs, this will all feel pretty familiar, but for some it might be totally brand new. So let me start by turning off all of these different things, and I will turn them on one at a time to show you how they work. So over here on the left, we have the instrument that's actually making this sound. It looks like this. It's a synth. Kind of dry and sterile sounding. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a reverb. And I've already got one here, but the way this looks is you press the add audio effects button and you get this picker where you can basically choose effects. And I expect that we'll be adding a lot more over time. But we have this reverb, let's turn it on and see how it sounds. So already we're starting to add a little bit of space, a little bit of that room noise. A delay takes the signal and basically like repeats it. So it's like a little slap effect on a guitar or something. So I've added that too, just give it more space. Yeah. I added some distortion. Just kind of like a little bit of like crunchiness. And then we have the compressor. And I know we've made other videos, maybe here, somewhere.
Link down below.
Exactly,
Playlist.
link down below, where you can learn more about how it works. But I have selected a sidechain input for this compressor, which means that the synth is going to respond to one of the other instruments on the timeline. In this case, I've chosen the drums. So take a listen to what happens when I turn the compressor on here. So this is off, and here's on. I'll make it even more dramatic by pulling the threshold down. It kind of like dances to those drums.
Yeah.
And this is a super important part of a lot of music production. So if I turn on the drum and bass, It kind of glues all these things together, which is nice.
Sidechain compression, right?
Sidechain compression in this case, yeah. And then finally, I've got an EQ on this track, which controls the frequency balance, and I'm using it to muffle the sound. And I'm actually changing how muffled it is over time, which is a fun thing to do as well. So I'll turn it on. And let me actually take this as an opportunity to showcase automation as well. Automation is the ability to change the way these parameters are over time. So if I go back here, yeah, we're changing where that filter is happening over time to allow the synth to like come in a fun, like dramatic, cool way to the song. All of these things just add up to way more ways to control the sound on the timeline. And it also is the beginning of being able to make music in Suno in a tactile way where you get to like turn a knob and actually hear the effect in real time.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited that we've been able to pull in some real-time creation elements to Studio 2.0.
All right, so there are some built-in plugins, but can you make custom plugins?
Yeah, let me show you. Okay, so we talked about all of the different plugins that are in this list, right? And there's a bunch. I think we have 7 right now, but there's more coming.
Okay.
But let's say there's a plugin that you really miss from your old production workflow, or maybe you've always had an idea for a plugin that you want to exist, but you don't know how to make it. We've added something that I think is really special to Studio 2, which is the ability to imagine your own plugin. Something that I'm missing is a tremolo. A lot of old like keyboards and organs have like a whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
like type thing. So let's try to make one of those. Make me a new plugin that does a tremolo effect. I want it to be like those old organ rotary cabinets. I should be able to control the speed and the depth, which in plugin language is kind of like the amount.
Gotcha.
I could probably write amount. This is all natural language, so it'll kind of figure it out. But let's start there and see what happens. So right now it's thinking. If I press this button or if I press 1 on my keyboard, I can fly this panel over to the left-hand side where I'll be able to see the whole conversation history. So this lets me, if I'm doing something more involved like this, sometimes I want to be able to talk back and forth a little bit more freely. Okay, so Studio has responded. It says, here's my build plan for the rotary cabinet tremolo plugin. It's going to simulate a vintage rotary speaker cabinet. It's going to have a dual LFO system, one for the slow bass rotor and one for the faster. I didn't know that they split bass treble. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then there's going to be a speed control and a depth control and a slow fast switch. Oh, that's classic from those old organs. Let's build it. Okay, so it is done thinking. It's done its whole build process. It created a plugin called Rotor Glow, and I'm going to drag it onto this track.
It even named it for you.
It even named it, yeah. Okay, so the interface is pretty simple. Over time, I expect that these UIs will get more interesting, but we've got our knobs. We've got speed, depth, warmth, which I'm not sure what that's going to do, but I'm excited to hear it. Mix, and then we have our slow fast switch. Let me solo this and let's hear it. And let's turn the depth up. Versus not. That's dry. And here's with Rotor Glow.
Rotor Glow.
It's definitely doing something. I'm hearing it kind of like pan left to right too, which is fun. It's got some like detone going. Ooh, the warmth is a saturation.
Ooh.
Whoa, that's fun. I actually like that.
Oh, very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And so now this plugin is forever in my library. So if I go to add a new audio effect, I can see that in my plugins now, which is this new section, I have Rotor Glow. I can go ahead and add it to future things. There's also a way to iterate on these, so I can continue to refine Rotor Glow over time. The possibilities here are very, very broad. Yeah, anything you can think up, you can give it a try. And over time, build your own personal library of plugins that only you have that respond in cool ways to audio signals.
So just to wrap up the whole workflow side of things, what sort of quality of life updates have been added?
Yeah, great question. So I guess the main stuff is that we've made this whole timeline just way more snappy and responsive. Like these things, render really fast. You can have a bunch of tracks here. The audio playback stays smooth. So yeah, it's just starting to feel like a really powerful engine for music creation. You know me, I also love my keyboard shortcuts. So we've kept a lot of focus on those. We still have those number keys up top to open and close the various panels. So down below here, 2 opens and closes what we call like the device view or the signal chain. I can shift tab to open the piano roll instead. 3 opens and closes like the next little panel on top for automation or those take lanes. And then 4 opens and closes the library here on this right side. All of these combined make it really quick to pop open and close these various panels and keep your workflow moving super fast. And then finally, that chat is just key. I can click on anything, press enter, and immediately say, turn this into something else. And being able to just quickly and then escape closes that chat. So being able to enter and escape really quickly to just bring this up, type in your instruction, and then close it out allows you to keep moving quickly and stay in the flow, which staying in the flow is ultimately the goal.
Okay, so this is a really awesome update and there's a lot of information. So we've made a playlist of videos that is linked down below that will cover each individual topic on Studio more in depth. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.